of people make quick and easy buttercreams that simply use powdered sugar and butter, and the result is gritty. But if you want to make a silken smooth buttercream, here's a really easy way to do it that's foolproof, and you don't even have to worry about taking the temperature. A great buttercream starts with all egg yolk, and I put it in the mixer and start beating the yolks while I'm going to heat the syrup. Now here's the secret of doing this in a quick and easy way. Instead of having to take the temperature of the syrup, I just use sugar and corn syrup. And using this combination, instead of the usual sugar and water and bringing it to 236 degrees and worrying whether you got the temperature right or not, we know that it's just the right temperature as soon as it comes to a full rolling boil. So what I'm doing is I'm combining the corn syrup and the sugar without heat until the two are combined, and then I start heating it on medium, and I bring it up to a full rolling boil. And when I mean a full rolling boil, I mean the entire surface of this sugar syrup will be covered with bubbles. You don't have to worry about beating the egg yolks too long. You can't overbeat them. So as soon as you see no more granulated sugar, you can start heating it. You're going to bring it to a full rolling boil. And that means that it's bubbling not just on the side, but all over the surface. And that is, in place of a thermometer, you're using your eyes. And it works perfectly every time. You can see how it's beginning to bubble. And when it starts bubbling, stop stirring, take out the spatula so it doesn't crystallize, and keep going until you see the entire surface covered with bubbles, which you can see, it's bubbling even in the center. So now you know it's hot enough. And pour it into a greased measuring cup. It doesn't have to be a measuring cup, but a heat-proof cup that has a spout on it. Because the next thing is we're going to be pouring it into the egg yolks. And it's this hot syrup that's going to thicken and cook the egg yolks. So I start off by adding a little bit so it doesn't spray all over the bowl. And then immediately bring up the mixer to high. And this tempers the egg yolk so it doesn't start getting to be hard-boiled egg yolk. And then another big dollop of the syrup. If you're doing this with a handheld mixer, you can add it while you're mixing, because you can direct the syrup so that it doesn't fall directly on the beaters. And the reason that I grease the cup and that I've used a non-stick skillet is because I don't want to lose the half of the syrup on the bottom of the pan. Sometimes people find that when they're making a classic buttercream, it doesn't thicken properly, and that's because they haven't used all of the syrup. But the other biggest fault or flaw in making a buttercream is adding the butter when the syrup and the egg yolks are still hot. It has to be completely cool to room temperature before adding the butter, because once the butter starts melting, it's all over. You cannot make it come back again. So you just have to have the patience either to stand there with a hand mixer or to let it sit here in the stand mixer and continue beating, and you'll see it'll get very light in color, very airy, and when you touch the side of the bowl, it won't even be warm. And it takes a good 5 minutes. The buttercream, well, it's not yet a buttercream because the butter isn't in it, is now really pale in color and thick and doesn't feel warm to the touch at all. I just wanted you to see what it looks like at this stage. So now, with the mixer on medium, because I don't want it to splash out, I'm going to start adding the softened butter. And I soften it at room temperature just so it's squishable, because that way it will integrate more quickly into the beaten egg yolk and syrup. And you can see some of it lands on the side of the bowl, but it's all going to end up becoming part of this buttercream. I'm going to scrape down the sides because some of the butter landed on the side, and then just finish it off with a short beating. And you can see that now this is the finished buttercream, that it would pipe beautifully, or you could just use it with a spatula to frost a cake. So now you see there's no reason to have to settle for that nasty, gritty buttercream when you can have this easy-to-make classic buttercream.